Hi guys, my name's Cameron Lee and this is Mike Laidlaw and welcome. Thank you for joining us again. I think last time we did this was a couple of weeks ago. I know you did another one. Yeah.
You and me.
Well, that's the only one.
That's the one that counted, man.
Exactly,
yeah.
That's right. Welcome to my office again. We did this because we have room for the keyboard and mouse, which we're going to be showing today with the PC gameplay. And Mike's going to be driving, actually.
In fact, we're celebrating the end of PC Week because it's still a holiday here in Canada. It is, in fact, Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Which is like the other Thanksgiving with less Super Bowls.
See, I don't understand why there's two different Thanksgivings.
Well,
did they travel?
Because of October. Because of October.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay.
Canadians, man, we're different.
Yeah, you are different.
We're not just America Light.
Okay, so we're going to be showing a couple of things today. We're going to show some conversations with the Inquisition specialists, which is the people who help you lead the Inquisition.
So fair warning, there's going to be some minor spoilers. Spoilers there. Yep. I almost said spory.
Spory?
Spory! Yeah, that's not a word. So they will be... they'll be talking a little bit about an early phase of the game. It won't be too spoilery, but if you were interested in how the people that keep the Inquisition running kind of behind the scenes work, and we're going to look at the war table, which is going to be pretty rad. We haven't really shown much of that at all, and we'll give you a sense of how that plays out and how it interacts with your story and some of the choices you've made. Again, early, so not too spoilery, but, fair warning.
So we're going to show that, and then we're going to jump into one of your saves, Mike, in the Emerald Graves. So there was some footage of the Emerald Graves out there last week, I think, but this is going to be our playthrough with our save. So it's a different save. So we can show a bit of the tactical camera, and we are going to show something pretty cool, which we haven't shown before. Do you want to tell them what it is?
Yeah, I think we should. We should. So with my character, this is the one I've been kind of doing as my latest playthrough. I went through, and in Inquisition, you have specializations you can earn, kind of advanced classes, and you do get to pick one. I decided to go for Knight Enchanter. And I know a lot of people have been kind of like, how does that play? What's it like? So we'll actually show you this time. Give you a sense of it. Exactly.
Now, I want to cover off quickly before we get started the PC specs. So this is not what I'm running here. My PC is a bit shitter. Sorry, I shouldn't swear on Twitch, but anyway. So PC
That's
recommended...
all people do on Twitch.
I know.
You go ahead.
I know. So recommended specs, Windows 7 or 8.1 64-bit. From a CPU perspective, AMD 6-core CPU, 3.2 or Intel quad-core 3. 8 gig RAM, graphics card, so AMD definitely would be really cool. AMD for Dragon Age Inquisition supports Mantle, and for PC users, obviously 4K as well. Yeah. So we do support 4K.
Well, via Mantle is my understanding. Right. Yeah. So if you want to go to super high res, we got you covered. Yep. I've seen actually people have asked me that directly, so I'm glad we're getting that out there.
Absolutely. Hard drive space, 26 gig, DirectX 11, min specs. You can probably check those out on the website. There's a couple other things. Let's see, I've got a list here. So we're doing some giveaways as well. So Origin Insider, their Facebook page, if you jump on that, I think they're giving away an AMD card, a 290X.
I think so, yeah. And there's another one being offered as well. If you hop onto the Dragon Age Twitter, @DragonAge, there's another AMD card being given away, another R90X. I think this one's the Sapphire. So you can follow both of those details on those pages. Cameron and I honestly don't know them. Yeah, we've been setting this thing up.
We just make games.
We make game good. Yeah. So hopefully you guys can track that down. I think they're running the contest, well, right now anyway, so track it down and see what you can find out.
Okay.
Of course, one minor disclaimer just before we jump in. This is still in progress. We are in the finaling stages. We're almost done this thing, but there may be a few bugs. It's still incomplete software. We're going to do our best to make it, as good as we can. As well, so Patrick, have we got keyboard cam?
We can switch over to keyboard.
We have keyboard cam. We're just going to show you that I am in fact using a mouse and keyboard, and occasionally, for veracity purposes, we will switch back and forth to that.
And even got the glorious view that includes both.
Right.
So
there you go.
Mouse and keyboard and scar tissue. I grew up on a farm, so my hands are kind of fucked up in places. Every once in a while, the grinder kicks back and just goes zerp right up there. That was a good one.
They don't care. They just want to see the game. Let's go.
No, let's talk about my hands some more. All right, first off, let's dig in. We're going to go to... let's dig in and take a look at the war table. So a little bit of story, a little bit of sense of interactions
Yeah.
with those characters.
Yeah.
Now the specialists, that's what we generally have referred to them internally. You may call them whatever you want, your ambassador, your spy master, and your general.
Yeah.
In order, that's Josephine, Liliana, and Cullen. This is kind of when you meet them.
That's
in this
right.
phase.
Yeah, this is a little bit after the prologue, when you're coming in and you meet Cassandra and you talk to Cassandra a little bit, and you go into the war tables for the first time, and they talk about the current state of affairs.
Yeah,
and
we
what you
won't
need
we
to do.
won't spoil too much, but we'll
Hopefully
dig in.
not. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so as you guys can see, we've got our PCUI up and running here. We'll go into some more details on that mini-map down here. Obviously, mouse look, all that fun stuff. We're going to kick things off, though, by right-clicking.
Yeah, I think we won't talk actually because
Yep.
people don't like us talking when other characters are talking.
All too fair.
Careful with the table as well, guys. It's making a lot of booms into the microphone.
All right, can you get rid of that keyboard shot?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Does it trouble you?
Now, we can probably talk here.
Yep.
This gives us a look at the reaction wheel. So in the course of regular dialogue, your wheel would have no major icons. There's just kind of a generic choice icon that appears in the middle. However, when you're giving an answer that's more emotional, that you want to say, I'm good, I'm angry, I'm stoic, I'm confused, or I'm sad.
Yes. Now there is an option to turn those off as well.
You
right?
can, absolutely, yeah. All versions of the game, you can say, I don't want any icons, I just want to play with just the paraphrases. As well, for PC, you'll notice numbers. If I want to just quick key to make a selection, I can do so. Let's be tough, Lady Elf.
Not really.
What's important is that your mark is now stable, as is the breach. You've given us time, and Solas believes a second attempt might succeed, provided the mark has more power. The same level of power used to open the breach in the first place. That is not easy to come by.
What harm could there be in powering up something we barely understand?
Hold on to that sense of humor. May I present Commander Cullen, leader of the Inquisition's forces.
Such as they are. We lost many soldiers in the valley, and I fear many more before this is through.
This is Lady Josephine Montelier, our ambassador and chief diplomat.
Anderan Atishan. You speak Elven?
You just heard the entirety of it, I'm afraid.
And of course, you know Sister Liliana.
My position here involves a degree of...
She is our spy master.
Yes, tactfully put, Cassandra.
I don't know about you, Cam, but I could almost hear the squee when
I
Colin
was
started
just
talking. Yeah.
thinking about Cullen and everyone. Yeah.
So here, as I said, more generic icons. So again, not really conveying an emotion, more just a chance to discuss.
Yeah.
Pleased to meet you all.
I mentioned that your mark needs more power to close the breach for good.
Which means we must approach the rebel mages for help.
And I still disagree. The Templars could serve just as well.
We need power, Commander. Enough magic poured into that mark.
Might destroy us all. Templars could suppress the breach, weaken it, so...
Pure speculation.
I was a Templar. I know what they're capable of.
Unfortunately, neither group will even speak to us yet. The Chantry has denounced the Inquisition, and you specifically.
Ooh, denounced by the Chantry.
Yeah.
Politics.
I know, right?
Politics.
So what are we going to pick?
I don't know. Cameron, your call. I've been picking.
Well, does it really matter?
Doesn't matter. Let's find out.
Can't you simply ignore them?
If only that were possible. Some are calling you, a Dalish elf, the Herald of Andraste. That frightens the Chantry. The remaining clerics have declared it blasphemy, and we, heretics, for harboring you.
Chancellor Roderick's doing, no
There's
doubt.
some mad love from the
It
community
limits our
for all
options.
of our characters.
Approaching the mages
Well,
or
that's nice to hear.
Templars for help is currently out of the question.
So this one I want to pursue. We've done investigates before,
Yep.
being able to dig in. The question mark gives you a chance to kind of explore a concept a little further.
Just how am I the Herald of Andraste?
People saw what you did at the temple, how you stopped the breach from growing. They have also heard about the woman seen in the rift when we first found you. They believe that was Andraste,
Even if we tried to stop that view from spreading,
which we have not.
the point is everyone is talking about you.
It's quite the title, isn't it? How do you feel about that?
Now this one I wanted to hit specifically because we haven't talked about it in a while, but some folks were asking us, well, what if I'm an elf? What if I'm
Oh yes.
a Canary?
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to be a herald of anything.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
So before you do that,
We wanted to give you a chance to
Yeah.
respond to that.
exactly, and I think it's worth noting that we get the question a lot about Dragon Age Origins had the origin stories,
Right,
right?
yep.
But what that did is it front loaded a lot of that race and specific content right at the beginning, and it didn't leave a lot of room
Right.
throughout the rest of the game. So
Yep.
what we did in Inquisition was we spread that content out over the course of the entire game, so it's more meaningful for the whole campaign, the whole story, your whole experience in the world.
Yeah, absolutely, and having it keep coming up, and so this is as well another thing the writing team made kind of a personal goal is they wanted to have more moments where characters kind of stopped and looked at you and said, "So, how do you feel?
Yeah.
What do you think?" So, supposing you're playing through as a Dalish elf, you're probably not super into the Chantry right now, and you're going to say, "Well, I'm not the herald of anything."
I'm no herald of anything, particularly not Andraste.
I'm sure the Chantry would agree.
People are desperate for a sign of hope. For some, you're that sign.
And to others, a symbol of everything that's gone wrong. Will the Chantry attack us?
With what? They have only words at their disposal.
And yet, they may bury us with them. There is something you can do. A Chantry cleric by the name of Mother Giselle has asked to speak to you. She is not far, and knows those involved far better than I. Her assistance could be invaluable.
Now, for those of you who are wondering, how the heck do we end up going to the hinterlands? Well,
Yeah.
this is why.
Yeah.
I'll see what she has to say.
You will find Mother Giselle tending to the wounded in the hinterlands near Redcliffe.
Look for other opportunities to expand the Inquisition's influence while you're there.
We need agents to extend our reach beyond this valley, and you're better suited than anyone to recruit them.
In the meantime, let's think of other options. I won't leave this all to the Herald.
The war table.
The war table.
So the war table is the means by which you direct your Inquisition forces throughout the world. So you lead this big, powerful organization which you build up over time using the war table. So there's two countries, Ferelden and Olay. And in this case, this is the first time, obviously, that the player would experience the war table. So there's just one option on here, but we might jump in.
We'll show a little more.
We'll show a little bit
Yeah.
more. But Mike, do you want to show us like how you would actually sort of navigate around the war table a little bit?
Absolutely. So the war table, when you make your choice of country, takes you into kind of a focus area in that country. You'd be driving a cursor around if you're playing on console, but of course mouse users, boop, 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 mouse. Very easy. You don't have to make the boop sound. I just
Yeah.
like doing it. So this at this point is the basically the war table tutorial, how it looks. Fun note, upper right corner, that box there, that's the Inquisitor Edition box.
Oh, is
That's
it
what
really?
it looks like. Yeah, if you actually have pre-ordered the Inquisitor's
That's
edition,
right.
sadly sold out.
Yes.
Due to ridiculous manufacturing.
Yes.
And if you want to hear Mark Dara go
Oh my
crazy,
god, it's just packaging porn.
we were at the Edmonton Expo, and someone asked a packaging question.
And it was
Mark,
like 15 minutes.
Entered a fugue state for 15 minutes
Yeah.
and went off about the Inquisitor edition. Anyway, back to the game. Anyway, that's box. So scouting the Hinterlands, when we go through, it'll take you through, give you a sense of what kind of action or adventure
Yep.
is about to occur, and then you make your choice. Now, in this case, we only have our scouts involved in this mission, and you notice that it has a power cost of 1.
Yes.
Which is the currency by which the Inquisition grows. Every time you open up a new area, if you pursue a major objective, you spend power, and
Yep.
the war table, as we've said, is how you do that.
That's right, and you earn power by exploring the world, completing
Yep.
quests, closing fade rifts, doing
Yep.
things that would strengthen an Inquisition.
Yeah, your reputation,
Yep.
helping people, all these things. So again, when we click in here, we're going to spend this power, confirm the cost, and away we go. Scout arting.
Yeah, so awesome. A little package of murder.
She's so nice too.
Yeah. So this is the village of the Crossroads in Twines.
It's not even really an official village.
No.
Just a place where people have holed up trying to avoid the fighting between mages and Templars. And you
Yep.
notice that that's been a pretty major theme of discussion so far, but it's not the only theme that we pursue throughout the
Definitely not.
game. In fact, it's a fairly early
Yep.
kind of situation. And as we showed at E3, it's one that you're going to eventually bring to a head.
Yes, which is pretty cool. So then you get an after action report,
Yep.
which you can read through as well. And this is indicative of how you would open up all the different exploration areas throughout the game. You know, we've got a number of these really vast areas for you to go and explore. But you do so by sending out your scouts to get a foothold, and then you can sort of travel through. And they're not really, there's a couple that are sort of locked to plots and stuff like that in terms of the timing.
Yep.
But for the most part, you're free to unlock these areas as you will, as long as you have enough power and strength of the Inquisition.
Exactly. So go out and explore the world, play the game, come back, spend power on the war table. But that's not the only thing you can do. So we could immediately go to the hinterlands. Whenever you unlock a new
Yes.
area, it lets you kind of quick travel there if you want. I'm going to say no. And I'll show you why, because I'm going to show missions. So operations are sending your troops out, spending power. Missions are the time-related things. These are the behind-the-scenes small objectives that are tied to the Inquisition's growth. So when we come to the war table here, you'll now notice that I don't think it went any open or lane.
No, at this point it's mostly in for relevance.
Yeah. So we dig in and some different options.
I love that Hard and Hightown, Barrack Lovers.
Yeah.
Right on that.
And actually, I'll take a look at three different ones. So let's start with one here, gathering coin. So this is not the most intense of missions.
No, but it's a great way to show that you can use your Inquisition to do things for you, right?
Yeah, it can be repeated. You can send people out, and when you have your different specialists, you have Cullen, Lillian, Josephine coordinating your efforts. Each of them requires time. Josephine's actually a little bit better at gathering coins, so she's a little faster than the others. That's kind of her specialty is commerce and trade. However, you may want to use Josephine for another operation or another mission. And if
so once you
do
pick one, then they're locked for that time.
they're locked for that time. So this will take an hour. It's going to come back. It's not a huge gain in coins, so this isn't the most optimal thing we can do. But even if you've run out of other stuff, there are some repeatable missions. One of my other favorites is actually gathering resources.
Yes. Now there is no MTX to speed that up.
No, there isn't.
Like, why the fuck would we do that?
No.
So no.
So we got a
Don't
couple
worry about
questions,
that.
guys.
Sure.
We're wondering about subtitles. If they'll be region locked, will you be able to edit them for multiple regions?
What do you mean regional?
So I imagine that in Germany they were trying to load German subtitles, and it was English.
So I can't speak to the exact specifics on a per SKU basis, per release basis, but you will have your choice of language for subtitles. You will be able to turn them on, turn them off. You can also turn them on so that they are conversation only, not ambient. So there's a bunch of different settings for those. Sorry, I don't know the specifics on exactly how German handles it, but we've done our best to make sure that subtitles are available across the different platforms. I've seen people play with German subtitles in English VO from one instance.
So there's different icons on the side as well, right? There's the little Inquisition pin, which you just used, right? For gathering coin. And then there's like the diamond ones.
Yeah, these are a completed scout. And again, if you want to see that briefing again, you can absolutely do so, or fast travel to that location again, which can help if you're like, oh, I just wanted to update my things and then go right back out to the field. Here, we have some soldiers missing in Ferelden. Now, for people who followed along Gamescom,
they would notice that. Exactly. So the demo we put together was
that's
in the
this
fellow
mission.
Maya. That's this mission, exactly.
That's where you go, because your soldiers are missing, and the Avar have taken them. And if you arrive on that one, you meet Scout Harding. She says, hey, boss, here's what's going on, and so on. So we can look at this one. It's kind of fun. So many of your companions and followers have their own kind of sense of what they could do. And this one offers a more interesting choice. So Josephine could have a friend in Antiva City. Liliana could send her spies, right? So that one's quite useful. We'll go with Josephine on this one. She requires time. We'll confirm. Now this changes it to be the symbol for the ambassadorial.
Yes, and you can see Josephine's card is then later underneath as well, which is neat. So.
And we'll look at one more. Now this one's kind of fun because it's actually tied to your background.
Okay.
You're an elf, and you'll notice through here that Clan Llewellyn is somewhat concerned because one of the clan is being held captive by the Inquisition, and they're somewhat worried about that.
Okay.
So each of the different races has their own background. If you're a mage, you also have your own background. Or a human mage specifically. Yep. So each of those have a series of operations tied to their background as well.
Now there's over 300
There are.
Operations and missions on the war table. And as Mike said, which ones you're going to see of those 300 will differ depending on the types of character you are, what decisions you've been making throughout the game as well.
You cannot see them all
No.
in a single playthrough. For instance, the race stuff is a great example. So Josephine's busy. We're going to send out Liliana, and she'll
Let's see
proceed.
what we have.
All right, so that gives us a nice war table overview.
I loved how Cullen wasn't willing to go to the Hightown.
It's just not his
It's
thing.
just not his thing, is it? No.
He has people that punch stuff, right? He doesn't really investigate authors.
Yeah.
There is one of my favorite operations. There's a character who asks for specific help, and it's pretty flippant.
Yep.
And Josephine says, I absolutely could do this. And Liliana says, I suppose I could spend spies. And Cullen's suggested as the advisor is simply, no, this is silly.
Yeah.
He'll do it.
Yeah.
But
he's
no,
not
he
happy.
does not
Yeah.
want to do it.
Yeah. So Inquisition talents.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that.
this is the last thing. So we talked about the Inquisition as a character you level up, and
Yes.
like your character where you gain in talents and buy in the trees, you actually have different options available as you go through and upgrade your Inquisition.
Yep.
You receive perks as the Inquisition grows in power, and each one comes with a set that you can purchase into.
Yep. Now, just stop there. I just want to go back up. So, as you scroll down through some of these options, you can see that there's different requirements. So, some of them have the requirement to have spent invested in this particular talent tree. Other ones would be like you need to have captured a keep, or you need to have recruited a particular agent into the Inquisition. So, they're characters that you meet throughout the world that you can bring in as long as you sort of fulfill their requirements. And so, there's a lot of different again, connections and ways to sort of tailor your Inquisition depending on what you've been doing throughout the world.
Absolutely. And in fact, one of the ways you can get those prerequisites is that there are agents you can recruit, and they're added to that pool. So each agent is like an investment as well, allowing you to dig a little further in. All right, that concludes the administrative adventures of our Elven Warrioress.
That's right. Are we going to go and punch things now?
I think we're going to go punch things.
All right, cool.
All right. Switch over to a different character. Oh, there's a nice handy reminder on how to travel in case you didn't use the quest. Yeah. All right, so we're going to head to the Emerald Graves. Okay. This is a human female mage, knight enchanter. Yes.
That's awesome. So you doing anything for Thanksgiving? As we wait for the
Yeah, the in-laws are in town.
Oh, yes.
The in-laws are in town, so I've got family hanging out.
Turkey.
Yeah, we had dinner last night. It was amazing. Best thing. So the reminder, for those of you who may have just joined us, at the beginning we covered it apparently on the Dragon Age social media Twitter stream, so at Dragon Age.
Yes.
They're giving away a AMD Radeon 290X Sapphire, I think.
Sapphire.
And then as well, you may want to check out the Origin Insider Facebook page.
Yep.
They're also giving a Radeon.
Yes.
We mentioned this earlier, but we're largely focused on PC. We're going to take a look at PC controls right now.
Yep.
Reminder, a couple things. We support Mantle.
Yes.
Just announced that.
4K.
4K is supported via Mantle. Also, you can use Crossfire. I don't even mention that earlier. The dual cards, so you can actually have double AMDs running deep. So today we're playing with mouse and keyboard, and we're back in here. The Emerald Graves starts us out in a area that's fairly notorious because it's where some of the Dalish made their last stand during an exalted march.
All down the stairs.
They died horribly, crushed by the human forces. Humans are pretty oppressive in the Dragon Age world.
Yeah, and now I just want to point out, Mike has a really cool staff that looks like Mickey Mouse, but with a gargantuan ear on the left.
That's well, it's if
it's the Dragon Age version. It's like somewhat realistic, but a little bit weird.
In fact, hey, wait, hold on. We're talking about equipment. Let's talk about equipment for a second. So this absolutely badass trench coat I'm wearing right now, I made that.
You crafted that?
I crafted that.
Okay.
I made that.
What leather did you use?
That is Dragonling.
Okay.
If you use Dragonling leather, if you want that particular tone of red, it is juicy.
Yeah.
Now, as a mage, the predominant materials I'm using would be cloth, but we're in here. Now, a couple things I wanted to show. Interesting, mouse wheel is a very quick way to get up into TACAN, and we offer you a variety of different things. I know some folks have asked me about like field of view, and I need to see my character's feet and stuff. You can get in fairly close, or you can pull back out, or you can go all the way up into TAC. So those are all options. On the PC, of course, we have your full quick bar with your different abilities. We'll get to Spirit Blade in a minute.
Yep.
Access to your potions are right there on top, as well as some of our more tactical orders. We didn't actually have these in the previous DAs.
No, these are just quick access
focus
to
fire,
exactly.
yeah.
That's right. Everyone disengage.
Yeah.
Obviously, you still have direct control over the individual characters in tactical or in real time as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then your mount, which for a long time said summon pony.
Yes,
But
yes, it did.
just as an interesting development thing, and the first ever mount that we created had flaming, like flames running down its side.
Yeah.
So there you go. You've got that's the.
That's the heart.
Yeah.
That's the heart. So the heart is particularly amazing because
Yeah.
it tends to sound like a broken trumpet when you make it gallop.
Yeah.
That can be pretty.
We've got a bunch of different mounts, and I still haven't seen all of them.
Well, why would you?
The big Druffalo thing with a big ass.
Oh yeah. It's got this big, enormous,
Yeah.
lumbering butt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Notable. Some people have asked about this. Can I sort of like clear obstacles? Yes, you can. The mounts can jump when they're riding. It's pretty hostile out there, so I'm not going to take poor Horny.
Horny.
I don't know if that's actually what I call him. Probably not.
I'm gonna. Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I'd want to
there's-
name my mounts Glue. Just every mount call it.
You're
Glue.
a terrible person.
I know.
You're an absolutely terrible person.
Okay.
All right, we'll hop off. Anyway.
So do you want to? Some of your characters, some of your party members haven't
Hello,
leveled
Ralph.
up, right? So
Yeah, in
do you want
fact,
to buy a
we'll-
couple of abilities and then
let's-
show the guys?
Yeah, let's go dig in for a little bit on character records and stuff. All right, so we want to talk about let's save Knight Enchanter for last. So I'll switch
Yeah.
characters again, mouse and keyboard. So let's go Bull. Let's see what Bull's got here. All right, so I can dig into my talent trees, back out. You'll notice this is quite different from any level ups we've shown on console.
Yep.
In that we have your slots.
Yep.
And it's very, very
you can just drag and
quick
drop.
to
It's
drag
really
and
cool, yeah.
drop.
Yeah.
You can also go with an ability and say, I also want this on 6.
Yep.
Pull it back out, all those kinds
Yep.
of things. And when you're moving around the talent tree, it's as simple as hovering to get all your information. You grab it, move it around, very much like moving a thing here. Now, I've actually built Bull a little bit defensively. He's got block and slash,
Okay.
which on PC controls is a toggle. You basically enter a mode where you're blocking, and
Like
then
Shield
you'll
Wall as well.
counterattack,
Yeah.
like Shield Wall,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's like a sustain. It will burn your stamina slowly over time. As you play, but the counterattack can be upgraded to knockdown, and it can also generate guard,
Yeah.
which we talked about. As we go through here, shattering the ground and so on, those are all very nice. I've also given Bull a nice chain pull to make sure people come in. He's often behind guys because I have Cassandra acting as my tank, so we'll give him hamstrings so no one can run.
Okay.
And we'll back out of him. Now, while we're at it, let's head back and take a look at our enchanter. So I've gone pretty heavy on the barrier route. Big hit points on barrier. Barrier's a little fragile. It doesn't benefit from your armor, so 3,000 hit points seems like a lot, but it doesn't get any mitigation.
Yep.
Some bonus stuff to keep me alive. And you can see this is my build being a kind of frontline, high risk, high reward kind of arcane warrior. Mind Blast will drop.
Always
enemy
very
aggro.
useful of you.
Super
It's
useful.
point blank
knocking
AoE,
back.
so
Yeah, and again, my barriers have been upgraded, which makes them more powerful.
yeah.
But if we go through, we head for the elemental. You notice I actually haven't bought a lot of those, and part of that is because when I unlock Knight Enchanter, I respect.
Okay.
You can buy something called the Tactician's Renewal, change out your abilities midway through. There's a cost, but I decided, totally worth it because Knight Enchanter kind of baller.
It does. Now, when you respec, it doesn't wipe away your specialization
Right.
choice, because we wanted the specializations to be far more meaningful and more important to the story and
Right.
to the particular character that you're playing. So it will wipe the talent choices within that specialization, but not the specialization itself.
Yeah. So some really notable callouts here. Spirit Blade we'll show that off in just a second. This is where the Knight Enchanter turns into a melee monster. Going in there and swinging big wide arcs of energy blades. You don't equip a sword. You basically always have one at your disposal. Also very powerful. Nothing feels cooler than when like a giant throws a giant boulder at you and you basically fade out of existence. Wham, and then you fade back in. And this is their focus ability, Resurgence. This is the big heal. This is get the whole party back up, heal over time, res if needed, everybody to full health.
Yep.
Again, this uses focus, which if we pop back out here, you can see focus on my bar across the bottom, and I have
3.
focus at level 1, and it's
Exactly.
pulsing, which means I could use that ability right now.
Yep.
Now, what does that look like? Well, if we go kind of insubstantial, kind of an ethereal form, doesn't last very long, quite powerful.
But it's
as a
enough to
defensive
get,
skill.
yeah.
Yeah, and it will let people run through. You can run through people.
Another
So if you're
guess.
surrounded, you can use
Were
it
you
as a
born
get
in
out free.
Denerim?
But then, of
What?
course, boom.
No. Is that what you're
Boom.
trying for?
That's a big blade of
It is.
energy.
It'll hit multiple foes.
Yeah.
Anyone along the arc that it travels, it will hit.
Now you picked an upgrade as well with this.
I have.
Besides, I don't know how much
Sorry, I
care
haven't picked up on this one, but there is
Oh,
one
okay,
available,
right, yeah.
which is essentially the ability to
Me.
reflect projectiles. So if you have an enemy throwing a fireball or a dragon doing the spit,
That's
you can actually woof it right
great.
back, and it will reflect back at them and
Yeah.
do damage to them as if you'd cast it.
Yeah.
So before we progress too far in, are you able to show them a little bit of customization of the bar at the bottom?
Oh, sure,
Can it
yeah.
be expanded to a bigger size or shrunk to a smaller size?
The bar is a fixed size. So part of the core design we wanted to go with Inquisition was that you needed to make decisions ahead of time. You wanted to be focused. You wanted to decide on a build for your character and how you wanted to have them. So we've got the full slot of 8, all your potions, all your abilities
Yeah.
across here.
Yeah.
We talked about that a few months ago.
We did, yeah,
I know some
yeah.
people are kind of worried about this. Again, I'm playing at a very high level. I already have all my abilities mapped in.
Yeah.
And we go through.
But it is really a good way to focus your character in
Mm-hmm.
on, say, a melee orientated mage,
Yeah.
like the Knight Enchanter.
And similarly-
and picking the potions as well
Yeah.
is all part of that. How you craft your equipment is part of that. So it's all about defining a role for yourself and creating the right sort of build.
Yeah, exactly. So I've equipped out a regeneration potion. I'm going to restock it. That's actually going to consume my elf fruit
Yep.
as I do so. But the healing potions recover as soon as I return to any camp and rest. I would come back at full health. As a mage, I may want to look at a Delirium potion because of magic. Gives me a nice boost.
Yep.
Poisons you can apply to anybody. Now
Yes.
rogues can get access to kind of a corrosive poison all the time, but this will open that up for every
Yeah.
class.
And the
But again-
famous jar of bees.
and the jar of bees. Everybody loves the jar of bees. There we
Huge
go.
attraction for multiplayer. I recommend it.
The jar of bees is very fun in multiplayer.
Mhm.
Again, you're only carrying so many though, so you got to use them pretty tactically. All right, so we can mix it up. We'll head out into the Emerald Groves. Now this is honestly one of my favorite areas, just for the color palette.
Yeah.
You can see the light just shimmering down through the treetops. It's times like this I want to go fly to Sweden just to hug the dice engineers.
Yeah.
These guys know their craft.
And so the vegetation's so cool and so much wildlife in this area as well. So I will insist that we kill some form of small cute wildlife.
I guess since we're playing Cameron style,
Yes.
sure. Now here's a fun thing. This didn't actually exist before in Origins, so if I want to, I can lock onto a character and actually get a good sense of their statistics. So we have a level 12, how healthy they are, and I get this little health bar across the top. Once we engage. Now here's the thing. I probably want to pause.
Yes.
Now, this is something that's actually not possible on console. This is kind of a unique PC experience. Now I've mapped it to spacebar. You can remap all the keys, and we'll actually take a look at options in a few minutes. I wanted to get a little fighting in because I've been looking at screens too long. But you can pause without having to enter into tactical mode. But while you're paused, you can switch up into TacCam, switch back down. You can also use your mouse wheel
Yep.
to get the same effect. Pull in and out, and focus on your foes. You can select your targets. You notice a nice highlighting. This comes forward from DA2 where you could easily go, oh wait, which one am I? Oh, the one behind, the one in front, the one behind. Nice and clear.
It is.
Try to make that nice and easy. And when you are in TacCam, of course, ground rings come on. You can actually make that active all the time. Aha!
I love the green.
Good job, TacCam. I actually wouldn't have noticed that archer otherwise. Now, on consoles, just to call out some differences, this cursor would be how you make your selections.
That's right.
On PC, you have a mouse, so you can make your selections accordingly. Set your targets, choose who you're going to attack. You can set up that guy's going to be running, so I want to try and get a little bit ahead since they're in theory going to come in. And at any point, of course, I can restart time. Boom. Oh, I missed him. So we have this guy on fire, so taking damage over time.
Yes.
There we come in. Now, I of course want to prepare
Bit of barrier.
bit of barrier, because honestly my character is basically built for barrier. We'll do that. Now, the whole party gets their barrier, nice preventative damage.
Yep.
And since I have this young fellow right here, right in my line of sight. I think I'm going to target him.
So you're going to
And
get
we're
anyone
gonna-
to...
We're going to get the spirit blade in.
Oh, so Cassandra just did some anyway,
Yes,
trying to
she
shut
did.
that guy.
Yeah, Cassandra will grab her aggro, go through. This allows me to be kind of a melee focus party.
Yeah.
Incoming arrows. Go ahead, fire that arrow at me. Oh, nope. I timed it wrong. Okay, yeah, well played, sir. Anyway, I can lose my aggro to provide a little stun
Yeah.
across there. Now, again, we have another one of the facing characters. Let's get a look at him. Pulling quite close. Again,
So you're stealing TACCAM here, but you've got complete control over the
I
camera.
am
which is-
actually
I
just
love
by
it.
moving the mouse up
Yeah,
and down.
and
I get
rotating
complete
around.
control.
Yeah.
Origins was a fixed perspective.
Yeah.
This can be very, very useful. And again, on hover, I'm able to get all the details I need. So again, this guy's vulnerable to electricity.
Yep.
I'm wishing I had electric staff right now.
Mhm.
I don't
Taunted
have
by
one.
Cass.
He's taunted, absolutely. In fact, some of the abilities will benefit because the character's in a taunted state.
Mhm.
They take more damage, they do all that kind of stuff. But essentially, I want to take this guy down.
Yeah, you might as well.
But I can catch both of them because his shield won't protect him from a back blast. Resume time, right in, and pop out attack cam, and I'm kind of hurt.
Yes.
Now, I could heal here. Instead, I'm going to just do a barrier because that's going to benefit the whole party. And it's going to take the same amount of time, essentially. I'm going to focus on this guy as my target. And then we're going to resume time. And lay into him. I've got the camera rolled out a little bit here. And put in. This is one of Bull's reader abilities here. He's created his zone, which is essentially, I jokingly have called it my house. Whenever he's in this space, enemies take more damage from him.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so essentially he creates his own. There's actually
You're in my
overlapped. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
There's
okay.
actually overlap with an area of inspiration Cassandra has put down.
Mm-hmm.
As a commander, she's able to go hurrah and create a zone where again,
Yeah.
Melee enemies fight here.
Now we could have done all of that ourselves, like triggered all of those abilities.
Absolutely,
You know, by swapping
absolutely.
between
Have
characters.
direct control, but they're set up. Their AI uses them fairly intelligently.
They will do that
Or you
next
can
time.
turn the whole AI system off if you want to do kind of note by note control.
Mm-hmm.
Now, switching characters. Oh, ho 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 ho! Look at you, sir. That is inappropriate. We are going to set up an explosive shot. Clicking on the characters will currently auto-center them, but there is an option where you can make it not auto-center
Yeah.
if you prefer when you're in TACCAM. When you're in real time, it will auto-center because the camera focuses on that character.
Mm-hmm. Can Bull chain shot that guy, maybe? Pull him over, get him away from...
absolutely. So if I
sorry?
set him as my target, go for grappling chain, we'll let time run. See if both
Oh, you know, you
I think
can-
he's already dead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, he was just
you
knocked down.
Yeah.
You can't pull a guy who's knocked down on chain shot. It's one step.
Fits up, face down.
Okay, looting. We can grab this here, nice
Some
and
of the craft
simple.
materials, yeah.
Yeah. And again, if I want to search the zone, now we formerly had like hold tab, but essentially this nice pulse allows us to highlight for a
Yep.
period of time.
Using the
Grab
V
that
key,
off.
I believe.
It's
in
R,
in
it's
this-
R, but again, all
okay.
remappable.
Yeah.
Probably V on your computer.
It is V on my computer.
Yeah. There we go. There's also key attack. So basic attack, you can do it anytime, just like I showcased on the PS4 last week. There's a key bind for that. You can use your left mouse button. There's a number of different ways to interface with the game.
Okay.
And actually, oh hey, she has jar of bees. I should probably use that. While we're at it, while we're looting, let's take a look at inventory because I know this one
yeah.
is always a concern. Hey,
For PC.
whoa, PC, what's
Yeah.
that going to be like? So it's pretty much what you'd expect, or at least what you expect for it to be done well. You can grab items, drag and drop, replace. You can use a double click
Yep.
to replace.
And you get the comparisons
And
as
you have
well.
your comparisons right on the fly.
Yeah.
We on the console we have bring them in on separate windows on a button press.
Yep.
But the nice thing with the extra real estate of PC is you've got tooltips.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. So you can make your comparison. Here we've actually got comparison against your offhand, and your sniper bow counts as your offhand weapon. But
Yep.
for anything like a dagger, it'll show you how it stacks up against everything. We go into here. Now, actually, I mentioned these are crafted armors. This one is one that I've made here.
And you
I don't have any upgrades. No arms, no legs
That's
equipped
right.
on that.
So some people have, when they first saw our inventory and they saw just an arm slot and a head slot, they're like, well, where's my hands?
Exactly.
Where's my
Yeah.
legs? And you do that by either crafting or finding upgrades that you can then insert into your armor. So
Yeah.
you can insert different legs into your different suits of
Yeah.
armor, and you can pull those out as well, change them around, give them to someone else, and that changes the stats and changes the look slightly as well.
Yeah,
as the look
and
of the
not
equipment.
every armor actually has those.
No.
Cassandra's in essentially Templar Commander armor. Quite high value. It's one that I found and looted.
Yep. and it's a fixed visual, right? In
That's
terms of
right.
like it's an identity, so
Yep,
that's why you don't have
so
it. Yep.
if you find Grey Warden armor, as an example, I know some people are pretty keen on that, you can equip those, and they come as one thing.
Yep.
You can also find schematics for armors like these that let you craft exactly that appearance, but again, using the materials you want.
Yep. And weapons have similar upgrade elements as well, so you can create a sword, or you can loot a cool sword that has different slots.
Absolutely.
And you can craft an individual blade and then insert that in, or different
Yep.
hilt. And it's pretty cool because, as I said, it changes the look and changes the stats.
So we have a few questions.
Sure.
For companion specialization, how open is that at the beginning of the game? If a player wants to focus on tank, can Cassandra be equipped with two hands? Two-hand weapons?
Okay, so how companions fight and how they specialize. So there's two questions there. Specialization for companions, they all have their own specialization, their own kind of specific specialization they reach. That is not available at the beginning of the game. That's unlocked through an event, which I won't detail. In terms of what if I want to change the way they're equipped, what if I want to change the way they fight, absolutely. So Bull is currently using a battle axe. If I want to switch over to Cass, and unequip this club here, and then go back to Bull and give him a one-hander, I can absolutely do that.
You give him a shield as well, and,
Yeah.
and then obviously you can pick the talents that would support that sort of sword and board
exactly. In
build
fact,
as well.
if we go back to their talent trees, we can go right in, and you can see that someone like Sarah has access to the daggers. She can grab all of the dagger talents
Yep.
and dive right into that. If you're like, no, I don't really want her as an archer.
Yep.
All abilities within specializations, this one's pretty important, will work for all weapons.
There you go.
Right? So
Cool.
even if you go assassin, it doesn't mean you have to be a dagger assassin and so on.
So it lets you have companions who are tailored to what you want.
That's right.
You're not forced to have, say, a Cassandra as a sword and shield. She can definitely be a 200 warrior.
Absolutely.
And when companions level up, do they get a full health bar?
On the level up event,
I believe I
there
do.
is health restoration. Absolutely.
Just partially or full?
Full.
I think it's
full. In fact, also when you get back up. So this one's notable.
Yeah.
So say you've reached the end of a combat, or you can right click to hold to res a guy and kind of you try not to be interrupted, but you can get an ally back up. They will recover some health as well. They don't get up at one hit point.
Yep.
However, how much they recover is determined by difficulty.
Yes.
If you're playing on easy, I think it's 50%.
Yep.
Normal's 25, and if you're playing on hard or nightmare, 10. So you're not getting a lot of free health. At the end
luck
of
on Nightmare.
yeah, at the end of combat, characters that are below those limits will also heal up to them. We didn't want there to be an advantage to, let him die, it'll be much better that way. That's really backwards thinking. So we want to avoid that. Fun little thing, you can actually actively bring in a legend on the map. You can zoom around to take a look.
Can you show
can
that
see-
legend again?
Yes, I can. There are things. People are now screenshotting that and picking it apart. I will look forward to the thread on Reddit later.
Yes.
You can see just how big this space is. You can also use your mouse wheel to zoom in and out, get a sense of the enormity.
We could bring up the journal, but we shouldn't because there
No.
might be spoilers in there.
I'm way too far in the game.
So, how about let's go and meet that guy. I can't remember his name.
Okay, so
Fairbanks.
our current objective is directly ahead of us according to the mini-map, and we're getting closer as we head into the camp. This is a nice area. So this is a group. They're not really refugees. They're sort of people who are from this area who are trying to keep
Freemen.
it safe. The Freemen are the bad guys, and it comes to light that they may in fact be working for the bad guys.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, that's the thing. We wanted to make sure when you come to any location like this, the Inquisition is purposeful.
Well, that's
There's a
right.
reason
Exactly. Yeah. It's like the Fellow Maya, from the Gamescom demo, where you have Inquisition soldiers that are missing. You have to go in and rescue them. That's the initial purpose of why the Inquisition would want to go in there. But of course, there's many side quests and content and things to go and explore as you run around.
Now, I just realized I didn't even register. I've been playing as Sarah this whole time
You have.
because you can. We're very much a party-focused game, letting you drive with whichever characters you want. Of course, the Inquisitor is the one that handles all the...
Mickey Mouse. Let's go, Mickey.
I love that staff. I love it so much. In fact, so that's a custom blade I added onto the bottom and the grip. is also custom, as is her armor. In fact, that's to get a sense of like some of the armor upgrades. Adding those shoulders and gloves is one full unit.
Yeah.
Her boots are upgraded and so on. All right. So, what are we in here, Cam?
So this is a different type of conversation camera. So you noticed at the beginning when we were showing the war table that that's a full cinematic camera. This is a more simple type of camera. We've shown it off at E3 and other elements as well. It gives you control over the camera while you're steering the conversation. It's, there you go, spinning around. So it's a way for you to get into conversations, ambient sort of conversations, take the opportunities to talk to someone rather than being forced into a conversation.
Exactly. So he initiated this conversation.
That's
if I
right.
had wanted to move on,
You could have just kept walking.
in fact,
Yeah.
I'm going to.
There you
And
go.
he'll basically say, okay, later then,
Yep.
Rudy. Characters are aware, but I can start talking to him again.
Inquisitor,
Yep.
please listen.
Save yourself a little
You have
dynamic camera there.
encountered
Yeah, absolutely.
Get a good view of the Mickey.
No? They've killed a dozen of
It's
my
awesome. Look at this. Look at the light
I
respond
shouldn't
to
give
the
you shit for the
owl.
Mickey. Yeah, no, it's cool. It is really cool.
rad.
It is. I love it.
Why should you care about this, you ask? Because the free men are colluding with your enemy.
Maybe I don't agree with him.
But we should, because...
Freemen are colluding with my enemy. Baseless speculation.
Okay.
Baseless.
You're on
Absolutely
your own. I won't
baseless.
kill
The
you.
Inquisitor has no time for
That's
baselessness.
it. You're just walking away. This is the Herald of Andraste.
Does
We need-
inventory have limited space?
Yeah, so inventory, sure. Let's do a quick look. You have a capacity.
Which you can
Essentially,
upgrade.
Each major item, yeah, you can upgrade it. Each major item counts as this. Things like crafting items, like, oh, I've got some herbs, don't
Yep.
really use up any space. We didn't want to penalize you for carrying too many elf roots.
There are so many elf
There are
roots.
so many elf roots that seem wrong, but
And
things
cheese
like
is a
armor,
rule.
accessories, and weapons and upgrades will all use. So these top four will essentially use space.
Yep.
You can also at any time see your crafting materials, valuables use space as well, and then schematics, armor, and recipes
Recipes for
you've
your
collected.
potions, yep.
So this is all the different recipes,
Yep.
and you can see what it would take to actually craft some of these, which are my requisitions. We talked about those on the PS4. They let me upgrade my power of my Inquisition.
Yep.
So by getting field tents or elixirs to stop plagues, again, there are things that my canny diplomats can turn into reputation. And while we're here, we got Fairbanks. So let's take a look at actually one last thing, one last menu. We're going to look at a sense of what kind of stuff you can do in gameplay. So folks keep asking me about this. Friendly fire. Yep. Absolutely. Available at all difficulty levels. You can turn it on. Makes the game significantly harder and
Yes.
more challenging, but you know what? It also adds a degree of realism.
Yep.
Not for everybody, but if you want it, it's there. Can I turn gore off? Yes, I can. Do I want the game to auto pause while I'm targeting an AoE?
Yeah,
I love that.
that's an interesting one because I don't like it, so it's definitely a personal preference.
Yeah, now that affects single player and multiplayer. The game continues to run. We don't want everyone else to have to wait while you line up your fireball. One
Yep.
of the challenges. Another biggie. Can I bind keys? Absolutely. In fact, you'll see I've done some custom binding here, which is what left those open. You can also change, like, I want the thing mapped ability slot one to be on Q or something like that. And I know when I play MMOs, I tend to have, like, oh, my charge is on T or something.
Yeah.
You can remap those if you want. Basic attack is on a key, but it's also left click.
Yep.
Those are all possibilities. And so obviously there's display, full screen, what resolution, vertical sync and gamma,
Yep.
direct 3D 11 and so on.
Yeah, there's the graphics.
But then there's graphics.
Yep.
And I know PC guys love looking at this. I love looking at this.
Yep.
So resolution, scale, graphics quality. So we're currently on custom. You can set this to presets that will modify all these things below. Mesh quality, tessellation, texture, shadow.
I tried running this in Ultra and everything before, and my PC just died.
Yeah,
It fell
yeah,
over.
It's so both process and multi-MS.
Yeah.
So you go. A lot of different options here. Should let you tweak and tune. Again, we've talked about where we at for.
We've only got 10 minutes. We should go punch something in
Let's
the face.
go punch something in the face. You got
Yeah.
it. Boo boo boo. All right, onward.
I reckon the little villa. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. I know exactly what you're talking about. Oh hey, is that a Grey Warden shield? Oh, that's right. I had Cassandra in all Grey Warden gear for a while. That was kind of entertaining.
Yeah.
I'm sure she was quite disgruntled.
Well, who cares what Cass thinks?
I do.
I don't.
I like Cass. She's awesome. She's a tough lady
She is a tough lady.
in a
I'll give
tough
her that.
situation, making tough decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Toughly.
Yes. Oh, you ran the wrong way. But it's okay.
Did I run the wrong way?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean, you can go.
There's
It's
two
open,
branches,
so you can
right?
run around. Yeah.
You don't guide me. I
Okay.
could go hunt that deer, I guess, but I'm not like you.
You've got to kill something. People, no, other way. Turn left.
Oh yeah, right. Sorry. Whoops. That's right. I was heading out to the camp.
Yeah.
Can I jump? Yes, I can jump. There we go. I was fiddling with keys.
Okay, that deer is not cute enough. We need something cuter.
Something smaller, more
Yeah.
helpless. You are a bad man. Have I told you that recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's cute. Kill that.
Alright. Wow. Man, look at you. You're so harsh. So you notice there, actually, interesting note
There you
is
go.
that your
Oh, and you're gonna kill a deer too.
your non-hostiles are kind of have a blue targeting, but they can be locked on. Well,
Yeah.
that deer is out of here.
Oh no, you got it.
Sarah got him. Actually, one other difference between the PC controls. Oh, red more. There we go.
So that's research.
Yeah, you can actually, if you acquire enough research items on any particular creature, be it darkspawn or demons, you can upgrade the amount of damage you do to them passively. You take that back to research. It's also worth experience points, so good to level up. And influence.
Yep.
So the Inquisition levels up too.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
There's a Fade Rift over
Fade
there,
Rift
but let's
over
not do
there.
that. We've shown Fade Rifts tons of times. Let's get to that villa.
What about the level cap for characters?
Level cap is a soft cap. Essentially, you gain XP as long as the creature is within a certain range of your level. So there comes a point at which, you know, if you're just going...
But killing the
kill
Nug will not give you XP.
No, it will not. It will not. We are not rewarding Cameron.
And I also noticed that when you go through the loading screen, sometimes there's like cards which give you hints.
Yeah.
And the card that talks about that topic is this cute little Nug by itself. It's like, killing this thing will not give you XP. Just blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh.
Just so as you know,
Yep.
you don't learn a lot by firing your bolt of arcane wrath into a cute
The
little
Nug's
bunny
butt.
pig. All right, let's head over to that villa. It's over here and around to the left, isn't it?
I believe so, yes. Yeah. If you pull up the map, you should be able to just tag it anyway. I think that's...
Oh, that's something I'm hunting for.
No.
Derek. There's a rift. There's my camp.
No, anyway, keep going and it's to the left. Yeah, it's around there.
Yeah, it's around this area.
Yeah.
So that's worth noting is followers have their own agendas. There's things they want to recover. If some of the circles breaking have scattered some of the lore of the circles, Vivienne would really like you to track those down. Optional, of course, but a good way to kind of get your companions good graces, and of course XP. And often those things tend to lead you to locations that are of interest for other reasons as well.
Yes.
What kind of environments
That
will
way.
be present in DAI? Will there be raining, snowstorms?
There are areas that rain mid-jump pause there. Oh,
He's trying to be Neo.
I was trying to be Neo.
Yeah.
I'm in the Matrix. Look at that! Look at that cloth simulation.
Yeah, so the environments, there's deserts, there's snow-top mountains, there's swamps, there's forests, there's frozen mountain kind of valleys.
We're
There's all sorts of
multi-region
stuff.
open world.
Yeah.
Is how we've started talking about it, where the world is open, as you can see, because I just did a grand tour of this area.
But a tiny fraction of it too.
Yeah, a tiny
so,
fraction. I managed to stick to the roads mostly, so
You
I
did,
avoided
yeah.
too many of the fights.
Yeah.
For crafting, will you be able to customize your spirit blade?
No, Spirit Blade is a fixed effect. It's not an item you equip or anything like that. And
It's the
crafting
raw
all focuses
power
on that.
of the mage.
All right,
let's
let's
punch
see
some
what we've
people.
got out here. So again, I'm using Wazdi to drive through this area. I can use it to scout some snipers. Definitely want to try and take them out.
So he's
Since you're on
patrolling
the
around.
consoles, excellent. You can slow time, move forward, and pause again.
Yeah, absolutely. Pause, unpause, pause, unpause, no problem. That's been kind of a staple. Now, let's see if I've got nice. Oh yeah, so it's nice as well. Tooltips give you a sense of what these are.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use. I'm going to set this guy as Sarah's effect. Now, long shot can actually have a bonus effect. Let's see if we can pull it off. Sarah. Good. Good. So long shot does more damage when a character has been not engaged in combat. If they're uninjured, you can actually do more damage. So it's a perfect opener.
Yep.
A little bit less effective up close. It does more damage based on range too. So it's one where tactical positioning can really
Okay.
make a difference.
So you did aggro the patroller.
I did.
Yeah.
I got that sniper.
Can you move Cass to hold a point?
That's what I'm going to do, in fact. We can move her to a point, and then we can hold it.
Okay.
Put Bull up here with her.
Yep.
Have him hold. Sarah will continue. She's still in the cooldown of her long shot.
Yep.
And then the Inquisitor, we're going to focus on the sniper as well. In fact, heck, let's set him on fire. And then unpause again. Now these guys are not going to go down particularly easy. They're level 12. My character's level 12, so it's an even fight.
Yep.
They're also quite tough because I'm playing on hard.
Yes.
Hard adds to the enemy's health. It adds to the way that they behave as well. They're much faster to execute their abilities. They're much quicker to fire off.
Yeah, and you gotta be careful because there's a whole bunch of enemies to the right, so
Yeah.
definitely don't aggro.
Oh, it's like you've scouted this encounter before.
I know, it's
right?
like I made the game with everyone here and
You
demoed
are,
stuff.
You, sir, are cheating. All right, so that sniper, you'll notice, is actually just on the edge of line of fire for Sarah. Snipers tend to reposition when they're under attack. They tend to move. He's probably going to scatter back here.
Yep.
That's going to block the focus I want. So to prevent that, I'm going to use Bull's Chain on him, and we'll get him pulled in. That should help us keep this fight. Meanwhile, with Cass, I'm going to switch to her, have her go after the basic attack here, split that out. Let's see. Actually, you can see him fade back there. Bull just fixed that. Perfect to keep my ranged characters in line. Bull also has an upgraded chain shot where he pulls and does a kick.
Love the kick.
The guy's on the ground now.
Yeah.
Now, while he's on the ground, switch to Bull. That big down strike that we've all seen here. I can resume time. I'm back out of TAC cam. Well, that's a cataclysm of fire. Oh, he's already dead,
yeah.
so I didn't even need it.
Yeah.
Probably the firewall going off. So again, back to the knockdowns. Take him out.
Yeah.
That guy's going to fight too. Now, where's that guy?
Yeah.
There he is.
Do the enemies scale to your level?
Enemies do not scale to your level.
No.
There are certain areas of the story where they have some degree of scaling, but in general, they do not. Here he comes. Okay, so notice my bolts are deflecting. This guy becomes a very bad call to be fighting from the front. There's a range character especially. His shield gives him a massive damage resistance as well. So even this gets... so Cass turned him with a war cry. Bull used his big ground slam, and once his armor was broken, I'm going to set him on fire and turn him off. So this gives us a nice light encounter. Again, only 3 guys, not the most challenging one in the game by any means.
Yeah.
But a good
But
sense.
definitely a lot easier with using something like.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
there's another. Yeah, there's those guys that are down there.
Well, before we'll end with Q&A before we go into more combat here.
Sure.
Okay.
So one more question we had was, depending on the difficulty you're playing, will there be bigger or more rare rewards?
The rewards do not scale. Playing on difficulty is essentially a challenge you set out for yourself. There is a achievement for both hard and nightmare. So if you're able to complete the game without
Without
being dropped
changing it,
below, but that is notable. You can change your difficulty on the fly. So if you've started the game on nightmare and you're like, you can pull it down to hard. If you've been playing a normal and you're feeling like, this might be too easy because I'm super good at this, then it lets you up your difficulty and so on. The achievements, though, are essentially like a low watermark system, so you want to start a game on hard if you want to go for that achievement. But in terms of gear, we didn't want to give bigger, badder gear because that starts to mitigate
Well, it
the
mitigates
fact
the
that it's
challenge,
hard.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
a lot of feedback we received, we want a good stiff challenge. And actually, we're still in the midst of balance tuning. A few changes will probably make it a little bit harder than even we've seen right now.
And for your mounts, are they killable? How do they work?
Mounts are essentially a buff. They're a creature in the world. You can hop on them, but they don't participate in combat. They will run.
They will run, yeah. I mean, it's interesting because health doesn't regenerate naturally as you run around the world. Some combat, you may want to make the decision to try and skip some combat, right? So jump on a mount helps you do that because it's a bit of a speed buff and you can get travel faster, jump over obstacles, etc. So it does help with that. If the mounts take enough damage, so if you do aggro and people are like trying to hit you or they're shooting arrows, eventually you'll get knocked off your mount.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for crafting, can you destroy a weapon and get its crafting materials?
No, the materials do not refund. In multiplayer,
Yeah,
they
you
do.
can, yeah.
They do in multiplayer. That's a change. But in multiplayer, you can't run around in the world and go find more. So we wanted to change that up. But in the course of destroying an item or selling an item, the items are not refunded.
Yep.
Okay, we're at the top of the hour. So I guess say your goodbyes and your thank yous.
But I don't want to say goodbye.
Yeah.
We can stream forever, Cam. Is
We
that what you want to
could.
do?
Just me sitting here during the week, just like tapping away and writing stupid emails.
Would it? Yeah.
Ooh, Cameron's replying to
inside.
something. All right, so Dragon Age Inquisition, guys, thank you very much for joining us.
Yep.
We are coming out November 18th in North America and the
21st, I think. Yep.
in Europe.
Yep.
So we're coming out on Xbox 360, Xbox One, PS3, PS4, and as you just saw,
The
we're
PC.
coming out on the PC.
Yep.
Again, I think this wraps up all of our stuff. Again, if you haven't seen it yet, PC specs have been announced. You can go check them out. We
Yes.
read them out earlier, but
Yes.
you may not have seen them.
Yep. Mantle 4K as well.
Mantle and
for
4K
PC.
confirmed.
And to
Crossfire
support that 4K, we are also offering up some prizes, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I think
so
that's
the
probably one.
the Origin Insider Facebook page and the Dragon Age Twitter account as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. Have a great Thanksgiving if you happen to be in Canada, and have a great Monday if you don't.
Bye.